At my grandmother's will reading, my brother got $50,000 in cash. My sister got $50,000 in cash. I got a dusty recipe book from the 1970s. They laughed. Right there in the lawyer's office. My sister actually snorted. A cookbook? Seriously? My brother smirked and folded his check into his wallet. The lawyer said nothing, but he looked at me. Just for a second. Then he slid the book across the table. I walked out of that office humiliated. My face was burning. My hands were shaking. Why would Grandma do this to me? I didn't open the book. Not there. Not in the parking lot. I wasn't giving them the satisfaction. I drove home in silence. Put the book on my kitchen counter. Stared at it for 20 minutes. Then I opened it. And what I found on page 1 changed everything. But before we get there, I need you to do me a favor. Drop your location and what time it is where you're watching. And if you've ever felt like the family scapegoat, hit that like button right now. Let me back up. My grandmother raised 3 kids during the Depression. She saved everything. Twist ties, rubber bands, receipts going back 40 years. And she remembered everything too. For the last 5 years of her life, I was the one who showed up. Grocery runs every Sunday, doctor appointments every month, 2 emergency room trips in the middle of the night when she couldn't breathe. I installed the wheelchair ramp myself. I sorted her medications into those little weekly boxes. My brother visited twice a year, Christmas and her birthday. He always asked for money. Just a loan, Grandma. I'm good for it. He never paid her back, not once. My sister came around maybe 3 times a year. Usually when her credit cards were maxed out. I'm in a tight spot. You know I wouldn't ask if I didn't need it. Grandma would write the check. Every single time. She never said no to them. But she said something to me. 2 weeks before she died. We were sitting in her kitchen. She was teaching me how to make her apple pie. The real one. The recipe she never wrote down. She looked at me and said, "The best things aren't in envelopes." I didn't know what she meant. She squeezed my hand. "You'll understand when the time comes. I see who shows up." I thought she was just being sentimental. I'm a CPA. I keep records. I document everything. It's what I do. But I never thought I'd need receipts for my own family. The will reading was on a Tuesday. The lawyer, Mr. Brennan, sat at the head of the table. He opened a folder. The estate of Margaret Ann Ellis. Last will and testament executed 14 months prior to her passing. My brother leaned back in his chair, confident. My sister had her phone out. She wasn't even pretending to pay attention. Mr. Brennan read the bequests. To my grandson Daniel, I leave $50,000. Daniel grinned. To my granddaughter Rebecca, I leave $50,000. Rebecca looked up, nodded, smiled. Then Mr. Brennan looked at me. To my granddaughter Emma, I leave the recipe book currently stored in my kitchen. Silence. Then Rebecca laughed. Out loud. Wait, what? A recipe book? Daniel smirked. Guess we know who the favorite wasn't. I felt my stomach drop. Rebecca leaned forward. Is that it? Just a cookbook? Mr. Brennan's face didn't change. That is the bequest as written. Daniel shook his head. All that sucking up for a bunch of brownie recipes. Rebecca twisted the knife. Maybe she blamed you, Emma, for not keeping her alive longer. I bit the inside of my cheek. Hard. I wasn't going to cry. Not in front of them. Mr. Brennan cleared his throat. I suggest you examine the bequest carefully. Daniel waved him off. We're good. Where do we sign? They signed the paperwork. They took their checks. They left. I stayed. Mr. Brennan handed me the book. It smelled like old paper and lavender. I tucked it under my arm and walked out. I made it to my car before the group text started. Daniel, $50K, not bad for showing up twice a year. Rebecca. Emma, don't be mad. Maybe you can sell the book on eBay for $5. Then a gif. Someone crying into a tissue. I pulled over. My hands were shaking so hard I couldn't hold the phone. I'd spent 5 years taking care of her. 5 years. And this was what I got? A slap in the face and a joke in the family group chat? I thought about every late night. Every time I canceled plans to take her to a doctor's appointment. Every time Daniel said he was too busy. Every time Rebecca said she'd try to make it, and then didn't. And Grandma left them cash. She left me a book. I sat in my driveway for 20 minutes. The book was on the passenger seat. I couldn't look at it. What if it really was just recipes? What if she really had forgotten about me? What if I'd wasted 5 years for nothing? I felt like a fool. But then I picked it up. The cover was stained. The binding was cracked. It was older than I was. I opened it. And everything changed. Inside the front cover was a note, handwritten, in Grandma's loopy cursive. For the one who stayed. The recipes are real, but so is this. It was dated, signed, notarized. Taped underneath was a folded document. I peeled it open. Warranty deed, parcel number 47-09-22. Grantee, Emma Catherine Ellis, my full legal name. I didn't understand at first. Then I saw the address. It was up north, Michigan, near the lakes. I pulled out my phone. Typed the address into Zillow. The listing popped up. 12 acres, lakefront, 3-bed, 2-bath cabin. Estimated value, $340,000. I stared at the screen. Then back at the deed. The transfer date was 1 month before Grandma died. She'd signed it over, recorded it at the county office. It was mine, legally, fully, mine. My brother and sister had no idea. I sat there in my driveway holding a piece of paper worth more than both their checks combined. And I started laughing, not loud. Just a quiet, breathless kind of laugh. She hadn't forgotten me. She'd given me something that would last. But I didn't stop reading, because if there was one document, there might be more. I didn't tell them. Not that night. Not the next day. I did my research. I called the county, confirmed the deed was recorded and legal. I called a real estate agent. Got a valuation. $340,000. Maybe more if I waited. I kept my mouth shut. 2 days later, my brother called. Hey, so I heard from Aunt Linda. She said Grandma had a lake house. I didn't say anything. Emma, did you get it? The will was read, Daniel. You were there. Don't play games with me. If you got property, it needs to be split. That's only fair. Rebecca's voice cut in. He'd put me on speaker. We got $50,000 each, Emma. If you got a house, that's not equal. I stayed calm. Grandma made her choices. Daniel's voice went hard. You manipulated her. You isolated her. We all know what you did. I took care of her. Rebecca jumped in. You brainwashed a dying woman. We're getting a lawyer. We're contesting the will. You can try. Daniel's voice was almost a shout now. We'll prove undue influence. You'll spend every penny fighting us, and everyone will know what kind of person you are. Rebecca added, We're going to make sure you don't get away with this. Then they hung up. I sat there. My heart was pounding. They were threatening me, publicly, legally. They thought they had leverage. They didn't know I'd kept reading. I went back to the book that night, page by page. Between the pot roast recipe and the apple pie, I found another envelope. Inside was a letter. 3 pages, handwritten, dated, notarized. To my dear Emma, if you're reading this, they've already complained. Grandma had predicted everything. She went on. She listed every loan, every request, every bailout. Daniel, March 2015, DUI legal fees, $8,200. Never repaid. Rebecca, June 2016, credit card bailout, $6,500. Never repaid. Daniel again, November 2018, down payment for a truck, $15,000, never repaid, on and on. 10 years of loans. Total, $178,000. Grandma had given them plenty. While she was alive, her words, right there on the page. I gave them money because they asked. You gave me time. Time is the only thing we can't buy back. Then I kept going. Tucked behind the letter were stock certificates. Blue chip companies. Bought decades ago. Current value, according to the brokerage statement clipped to them, $89,000. And a savings account passbook. Co-owner, Emma Catherine Ellis. Balance, $62,000. I was holding $500,000 in assets, and a notarized letter explaining exactly why. The next morning, I called Mr. Brennan. You knew, didn't you? He was quiet for a second. Your grandmother came to see me 18 months before she passed. She was very clear about what she wanted. Why didn't you say something at the reading? Because she asked me not to. She wanted you to find it yourself. He told me the rest. Grandma had discovered something a year before she died. Rebecca had forged her signature on a check. $1,200. Small enough to slip by. But Grandma noticed. The signature loop was wrong. She didn't confront Rebecca. She just started keeping better records. Then Daniel asked her to co-sign a truck loan. Didn't ask, told her. You owe me, Grandma. After everything I've done. She refused. He didn't speak to her for 4 months. Mr. Brennan's voice was calm. She gave them the cash bequest to avoid a public fight. But she protected the real assets for you. Why? Because you never asked for anything. And she knew they'd burn through the money in a year. He paused. Your brother owes $80,000 in credit card debt. Your sister is 3 months from foreclosure. They saw Grandma's death as a bailout. They expected 6 figures each. Instead, they got $50,000. And I got everything else. Now I understood. And I knew exactly what to do. I hired an estate attorney that afternoon. I brought every document. The deed, the letter, the stock certificates, the passbook, the loan history. She read through everything. Then she looked up at me. This is airtight. They don't have a case. Can they still contest? They can file, but it'll be dismissed, and they'll be on the hook for court costs. I nodded. I want to do this the right way. She drafted a filing, a petition to confirm the will's validity, every document attached, but we didn't file it, not yet. We'll give them one chance, I said. I sent an email to Daniel and Rebecca. Subject line, family meeting. Saturday, 10 a.m., Mr. Brennan's office. My attorney will be present. Attendance optional, but strongly recommended. I didn't explain. I didn't justify. I just sent it. Rebecca replied within 5 minutes. You can't bully us. We have rights. Daniel sent a thumbs down emoji. But they'd be there. I knew they would. Because they thought they were going to win. I didn't sleep the night before. But I wasn't nervous. I had the truth. And I had the receipts. Saturday morning, Mr. Brennan's conference room. Daniel walked in first. Suit and tie, trying to look official. Rebecca came in right behind him, arms crossed. My attorney was already seated. Laptop open? Projector ready. I sat at the end of the table. Calm. Quiet. Mr. Brennan started. We're here to review the full distribution of Mrs. Ellis's estate. Daniel cut him off. We're here because Emma is trying to steal what's rightfully ours. My attorney didn't blink. Let's look at the documents. She clicked the remote. The first image appeared on the screen. Grandma's notarized letter. My attorney read it aloud. For the one who stayed. The recipes are real, but so is this. Rebecca shifted in her seat. Next slide. The loan history. Over a 10-year period, Mrs. Ellis provided $178,000 in loans to Daniel and Rebecca. None were repaid. Daniel's jaw tightened. Next slide. The warranty deed. 1 month before her death, Mrs. Ellis transferred a lakefront property valued at $340,000 to Emma, legally recorded. Rebecca's face went pale. That's supposed to be split 3 ways. My attorney kept going. No, it was transferred pre-death. It was never part of the probate estate. Next slide. Stock certificates, $89,000. Next slide. Savings passbook, $62,000. Co-owner, Emma. Daniel tried to interrupt. This is insane. She manipulated, Mr. Brennan spoke. Your grandmother was evaluated by her physician 1 week before executing these documents. She was found to be of sound mind and body. There is no grounds for undue influence. My attorney leaned forward. Mrs. Ellis made her intentions clear. This distribution is lawful and final. Any contest will be dismissed, and you may be liable for court costs and sanctions. Silence. Rebecca started to cry. Not sad tears. Shame tears. Daniel stared at the table. I spoke. Once. Grandma gave you cash because she knew you needed it now. She gave me everything else because she knew I'd honor it. I'm not splitting anything. But I'm also not interested in fighting. Walk away and we're done. No one moved. Then Daniel stood up. Rebecca followed. They walked out. No words, no apology, just gone. The door closed. Mr. Brennan looked at me and nodded. It was over. They never filed a contest. 2 weeks later, Daniel's wife called. She apologized. On his behalf, I was polite, but I didn't reopen the door. Rebecca sent a text. I'm sorry. 2 words. I didn't reply. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. 6 months later, I drove up to the lake house for the first time. It was everything the listing said, and more. The sun came up over the water. The trees were so thick you couldn't see another house. It was quiet, peaceful. I spent a week renovating. New paint, new dock. I kept Grandma's furniture. Now I rent it out as a vacation property. The income covers the property taxes. And then some. I set up a small scholarship in Grandma's name at the local community college. $500 a year. For students who are caregivers. The stock portfolio is still growing. I haven't touched it. The $62,000 from the passbook? I paid off my mortgage. For the first time in my life, I own my home. Free and clear. The recipe book sits in a shadow box on the wall of the lake house. Open to Grandma's letter. Every guest who visits asks about it. And I tell them, not the whole story. Just enough. My grandmother gave me more than money. She gave me her trust. I've cooked every recipe in that book at least once. The apple pie is still my favorite. I make it every year on her birthday. And I think about what she said. The best things aren't in envelopes. She was right. Inheritance isn't about money. It's about seeing who sees you. Grandma didn't give me cash because she knew I didn't need it. She gave me her story, her trust, her peace of mind. That's worth more than any check. I don't hate my brother and sister, but I don't owe them my inheritance or my peace. They made their choices. Grandma made hers, and I'm honoring both. So here's my question for you. What would you have done? Would you have shared the assets to keep the peace? Or would you have held the boundary like I did? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and if this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. There's more where this came from. Thanks for watching. One last thing. This is a fictionalized dramatization for entertainment purposes. It's not legal or financial advice. Always consult a licensed professional for your specific situation. But remember this. The people who show up when it's hard are the ones who deserve to be remembered when it's over.